let's react to it, man. We got ranking every QB class since 2010. Let's get into it. So 20-minute video, so it ain't too long, bro. Let's get right.
During the build-up to every NFL draft, we've always heard the same types of
Why not? Let's react to it, baby.
Is this guy better than that guy? Or is this dude gonna be the next big thing?
I think the best quarterback in this draft, when it's all said and done, is going to be Zach Wilson.
As we all know,
That's funny.
a lot of the times,
That's funny, bro. I'm gonna be honest. That's insanely funny, bro. But if you think about it, I'm not mad at it because Zach Wilson, his arm talent is immaculate. I'm gonna keep it being with you. I really love Zach Wilson's arm talent. Now his decision making is questionable, but that arm, he can sling that pill, okay?
And year after year, we see quarterbacks hit and miss, with some classes clearly being better than others. So I decided, hey, why not rank them all since 2010?
There we go. It's gonna be a good video. Let's get
2010
it.
was a weird year. This class had just 3 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. And even for being considered a weak class initially, it was still very underwhelming. Bradford battled through injuries and below average play most of his career, outside of one decent season in Minnesota.
Now, I already know we're going to have some good classes and some bad classes, okay? Sam Bradford might be the best QB in this class, which is not the greatest, okay? Let's keep it a beam. Sam Bradford is not that good, all right? But he's probably the best in this class. So he's a hit. Then we got some misses as well. So this is going to be an interesting video for sure.
Tebow is one of the craziest stories in sports history. In year 2, he rallied the Broncos to the playoffs and had that iconic game winner in overtime. Then he never started another game in the NFL and played more years of minor league baseball than pro football. After the 2 first-rounders, the only quarterbacks who ever started more than half a season for a team were Jimmy Clausen, Colt McCoy, and John Skelton, all of whom weren't great starters and served mostly as backups in their careers. Colt McCoy was the only active quarterback from this class by 2019. Overall, 2010 lands in F tier.
Yeah, 2010 they had no good
In
QBs.
2011, the number 1 overall pick, Cam Newton, led an exciting group of quarterback prospects that saw 4 of them go in the first 12 picks, and then 2 more in the early part of the second round. Newton became a superstar, going on to win MVP in 2015
and
helped Carolina reach the Super Bowl. His reign at the top was short, however. After making 3 Pro Bowls in his first 5 seasons, Newton's injuries and inconsistent play led him to fading out of the spotlight. Still, his 8 starting seasons in Carolina proved he was worthy of the number 1 pick. The following 3 quarterbacks, however, were all major busts. Locker and Ponder were out of the league by the end of 2014, and Blaine Gabbert was mostly a backup throughout his career. The draft pick that gave his team the most bang for their buck was Andy Dalton. He became a solid, consistent starter for 9 seasons, achieving 3 Pro Bowls, and led the Bengals to the playoffs 4 times. He's entering his 15th NFL season, still starting from time to time. At one point, Colin Kaepernick had taken the league by storm, nearly leading the Niners to a Super Bowl victory, and played in 2 NFC championships. But his run at the top was short-lived, and his level of play diminished by 2015. One big
They packed up Colin Kaepernick. As soon as they seen Buddy take a knee while the national anthem's going on, they packed him up. They said, "Oh yeah, we gotta get you out of here, bro." No, we can't allow that. We can't allow that nigga shit in here. No sir. They packed Colin Kaepernick up, man. But he was very, very talented, man. Shout out to Colin Kaepernick, bro. He took a stand and he stood on business, bro. So he got my respect for that. For sure.
Big surprise in the later rounds was Tyrod Taylor. After serving as a backup for 4 years in Baltimore, Taylor led the Bills to the playoffs in 2015, ending their long-term playoff drought and reaching the Pro Bowl. He started 3 years there and has served as a placeholder starter and backup ever since. Overall, while there were some major busts in the first round, there was still some solid value found throughout this class. It saw multiple guys lead their teams to the playoffs, and 2 of them led their team to the Super Bowl. The 2011 class lands in B tier.
Good tier.
Now, before we continue on to the next quarterback class, this video is sponsored by SeatGeek.
Yo.
Count and get your tickets. In 2012, the excitement for the top of the class was warranted. Andrew Luck started his career making 3 straight Pro Bowls.
2012 was
revived the
that
Colts,
year,
and led
baby!
them to the AFC Championship in 2014.
RG3!
Although his reckless style of play, combined with the Colts' inability to protect him, caught up to Luck. And after years of frustrating injuries, he called it quits. RG3 was awesome for it.
Hold up. RG3! My dog! Yes, sir, man. Yo, we gotta give RG3 his flowers, baby. We gotta give RG3 his flowers. That boy was a monster. All right? That boy was phenomenal. We ain't gonna sit. We ain't gonna watch this video and not get RG3 his goddamn flowers. That's a fact. That's a fact. You see it on me. You see it on me. We gotta get RG3 his goddamn flowers, bro. That boy was a monster before injuries.
A year before disaster struck, Tannehill was decent, but nothing special in Miami. However, he did revive his career when he went to Tennessee, leading them to an AFC Championship game and multiple playoff appearances. After those guys, Whedon and Osweiler were busts.
Yeah.
But then you get to the mid-round players, and man, does this class have some gems. Russell Wilson became one of the greatest mid-round draft stories ever, with 10 Pro Bowls to his name and a Super Bowl victory. Nick Foles carved out a truly unique yet legendary career. Despite mostly being a backup, Foles had 2 iconic seasons that define his legacy.
He's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest Eagles QBs of all time. If you're being honest, like you gotta get Nick Foles his flowers. He's one of the greatest Eagles of all time.
First being that crazy 27 touchdown to just 2 interception season, and then more notably, after he filled in for Carson Wentz, he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl victory and won Super Bowl MVP. Lastly, Kirk Cousins surprised everybody.
Oh, Kirk Cousins came in the draft too?
In the NFL.
Wow,
he may have gotten overvalued in recent years, but considering he was a 4th-round pick, there's no denying that he's far exceeded his draft expectations.
That's pretty good.
Overall, 2012 has one of the more unique and impressive.
The best quarterback in this draft was Russell Wilson, right? I believe it was Russell Wilson. Yeah, Russell Wilson. He was the best QB of this draft. Even though this QB, this draft class, I'm gonna give it an A. I don't know. I'm gonna give it an A+. I don't know what he's gonna give it, but I'm gonna give it an A+. Russell Wilson was the best quarterback of this game, of this series, of this class. Okay. They got RG3 as well, Andrew Luck, but their careers, it didn't plan out the best it should have planned out. But there were still great players in that draft for sure.
Quarterback classes in recent memory. It's so rare to find successful quarterbacks in multiple rounds like teams in 2012.
That's a great draft class.
For these reasons, this class lands in S tier.
I ain't mad at that one.
After the hype of the previous 2 classes, 2013 was not even in the same stratosphere. It had just 1 first-rounder and 3 total quarterbacks selected in the first 3 rounds. The lone first-rounder, E.J. Manuel, became a huge bust, losing his starting job in Buffalo shortly after his rookie season. Geno Smith had a similar story, where after 2 rough seasons as the Jets starter, he became a journeyman backup. But somehow, someway...
Yo, I don't know one good Jets quarterback. Do y'all? I don't know one good Jets quarterback. The Jets quarterback room is cursed. I don't know one good Jets quarterback who succeeded on the Jets. I don't know him. Do y'all know him? I don't.
Geno completely turned around his career at age 32, and he became a solid 2-time Pro Bowler in Seattle.
Yeah, he turned up.
This class continues to struggle. Mike Glennon and Matt Barkley were both career backups with brief moments as starters. And after that, most of these guys were out of the NFL after 2 years. So far, this is the worst class of the video. F tier. 2014 had a lot more excitement during the draft process because of one guy, Johnny Football.
A C tier.
Along with Blake Bortles and Teddy Bridgewater, were all first-round picks.
A C tier.
But overall, this was a hugely disappointing first round. While Bortles did help the Jags reach the AFC title game in 2017, this was largely due to their defense and run game. He was a turnover machine and fell out of favor in Jacksonville shortly after that run. Manziel became one of the all-time busts, with a more intriguing burnout story than his pro career, and Bridgewater developed into a decent game.
Too much of this. Too much of this for Johnny Manziel. Too much of this. Alright? If Johnny Manziel was not off this, he would have been elite. Johnny Manziel in college was, come on, we already know. Alright? Yo, Drake made a song about Johnny Manziel. Like, if Drake is one of the biggest artists of our generation is making a song about you, that means you are big time, bro. Now look, he obviously flopped. It was too much expectations on him from the rip, but in college, he was woo-wee. Johnny amazing, bro. Johnny amazing. That's all I'm gonna say, man. But he definitely didn't live up to the expectations. Was struggling with this and a lot of other stuff. Oh my gosh. Biggest disappointment.
By year 2, helping the Vikings reach the playoffs. However, injuries ruined his career.
True.
He became a journeyman starter elsewhere. He had the ability to be an average starter in the NFL, but also Bridgewater never proved that he was good enough to have a team want to build around him.
Yeah.
The most successful starter of this class came in the second round. Derek Carr was selected by the Oakland Raiders 36th overall and became their franchise quarterback for 9 seasons. His 3-year run from 2015 to 2017 saw him make 3 straight Pro Bowls, and in his prime, he was a top 10 quarterback. He's still a starter in the NFL as of last year. Jimmy Garoppolo had his moments, first appearing to be the future in New England, then he was traded and helped the Niners reach the Super Bowl. But he couldn't stay healthy, and ultimately as time went on, it became evident that he didn't have the ability to elevate the offense as well as people thought he could. From the later rounds, there were a few backups that developed. But one interesting story was Logan Thomas, who carved out a solid career not as a quarterback, but as a tight end. Overall, while there were some busts at the top, Bridgewater, Carr, and Garoppolo all had some varying levels of success that led me to putting this class in C tier.
Yeah, that's a good C tier.
2015 had an incredibly small class with just 7 total quarterbacks. This year was really top-heavy too, with Winston and Mariota going 1 and 2, and then there wasn't another quarterback selected until pick 75. Winston and Mariota were both players who showed promise, but were inconsistent, injury-prone, or turnover-prone, and the teams that drafted them eventually turned to better quarterbacks. Both of them are still in the NFL, but have spent a large amount of their careers as backups. The rest of the class has been mostly backups. Trevor Siemian became a surprise starter in 2016 and 2017, but that was about it. This class was one of the worst performing classes in recent memory. I give it a slight edge over 2010 and 2013, but I can't put it any higher than D tier.
That's a D tier? I don't know. I feel like I feel like that year was better than last year's. Honestly, bro, cause they've been consistently average. Okay, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, yo, they'll always find a job for them. They're not super terrible, but they're not great as well to be starters. They're average. They're consistent. You know what you're gonna get out of Jameis Winston, and you know what you're gonna get out of Marcus Mariota. I feel like that should be at least a C plus, right? Or if not a C plus, a C. At least that was better than last year, if you ask me. What was last year again? Let me see. Hold on. I'm sorry. I gotta go back. What was last year again? Last year, that's 2015. They had Derek Carr. Who else they have in that year? Logan Thomas, Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that's a C. That's a C grade if you ask me. But all right, whatever. Okay. To each his own. 2016, here we go.
After the tiny class of 2015,
Dak Prescott,
2016 had the strength.
Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, not bad. I'm gonna give it an A.
Despite some doubts early on,
that's an A grade, bro. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Dak Prescott. I'm gonna give it a no. B. It's a B, not an A. B minus actually. B minus.
Goff ended up being a solid number 1 pick. He developed into a Pro Bowl level quarterback with the Rams and helped them reach the Super Bowl. And after he was traded, he developed into a top 10 level starter in Detroit. Wentz was damn near the NFL MVP in 2017 before his injury. But after that, his reckless style of play did more harm than good, and he lost favor in Philly. So his career is sort of defined as a one-year wonder. Lynch and Hackenberg were huge busts, and outside of Jacoby Brissett and Dak Prescott, the rest of this class were backups at best. Brissett has become a journeyman starter, high-end backup type, and Dak was one of the biggest draft surprises of the year. Very similar to Kirk Cousins, Dak developed into a solid starter who hovers around that top 10 level conversation. And even though people will say he's overpaid and overrated, there's no denying how much he's exceeded his draft expectations. The dude's become a franchise quarterback and has 4 Pro Bowls to his name. Overall, this class has a little bit of everything. A couple franchise quarterbacks who have hovered around that top 10 to top 15 level of play, a handful of other starters, and a few more backups. It makes sense to me to put this group in B tier.
Good grade. Amazing grade, actually.
2017 changed the landscape of the league forever.
Oh my gosh! Patty Mahomes! Woo! Patty Mahomes, man. All I see is Patty Mahomes. I'm gonna give it an A+. No, matter of fact, I'm gonna give it an S tier just because Patrick Mahomes' name is here. Alright? Now everybody else don't mean nothing. Well, Deshaun Watson, he also had a good year until he started dibbling and dabbling in the wrong field, okay? He was in the football field, he was in the massage field, okay? That was his flaw, that was his mistake. But Patrick Mahomes, his name alone, you gotta give it an S. You got to.
When the Chiefs selected Patrick Mahomes 10th overall.
Woo!
Since then, Mahomes has made 6 Pro Bowls, has played in 5 Super Bowls, and has won 3 of them.
He's arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. How about those? How about those?
He's already in the conversation for the greatest of all time.
There you go.
The dude is yet to turn 30. For the rest of the class, there's a massive gap in talent. The first quarterback selected was
Patrick
Mr.
Mahomes.
who was a one-year wonder in Chicago.
I'm sorry, Chad. I'm sorry I'm talking too much, but this was what year again? 2017. Wow, bro, that's immaculate.
Backup by year 5. Deshaun Watson was the next most talented after Mahomes, and was having a really
crazy that
awesome
we're in
career
2025
until
right
the
now.
allegations changed the course of his life. He's never been the same. After the first rounders, there's not much positive. Deshaun Kaiser had one of the worst seasons of all time as the Browns starter during their 0-16 season. Nathan Peterman has been a backup, and is most famously known for his 5 interception debut. And Josh Dobbs had some crazy moments during 2023, but
Dobbs.
he's mostly been a backup as well. Overall, this
Joshua Dobbs needs an actual opportunity to play football. They look at him as a backup, but I see potential starter in him. I ain't gonna lie, but he has to get that opportunity. So, without opportunity, there's no success.
class is heavily carried by Mahomes, which begs the question, does this class deserve to be ranked higher because of one player's utter dominance? Without Mahomes, it hovers in that C and D tier territory, but because of Mahomes, I'd say 2017 lands in B tier.
I guess. When you draft, when a player is amongst the best players of all time, you gotta automatically give it an S tier. I don't understand how you cannot. Like, dog, that's a one in a generational talent right there. I don't see how it's not an S tier. I'm gonna be honest. Forget everybody else. You got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes alone carried that whole entire draft year. I don't see how you give it a B.
Talk about a class that was loaded in the first
Oh
round.
my gosh. Baker, Sam, Josh Allen, Lamar. Oh my goodness. Ooh! Hey, if this not an S tier, I don't know what it is.
2018 saw 5 quarterbacks selected on day 1, and man, has this group produced fireworks. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have both won MVP and are both in that top 3 quarterback conversation. These are 2 of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Yes,
and
indeed.
interestingly enough, we've seen two other quarterbacks from this class come along. Baker Mayfield has developed into a top 10 level quarterback, coming off his second straight Pro Bowl in Tampa. Then for Sam Darnold, he went from certified bust, seeing ghosts in New York, to one of the biggest surprises in the NFL in 2024. Now we will see if he can keep up that level of play in Seattle, but for now, things are trending upwards for him. Outside of those four, this class doesn't have too much else to offer. Rosen was a huge bust.
Sam Darnold is no longer with the Vikings, right? I forgot where exactly is Sam Darnold. Where is he at? He's with Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold. He had an immaculate season with an immaculate wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. Now he's with the Seahawks, who have no receivers. They just got rid of DK Metcalf. Only receiver they have as of right now is Jackson Smith and Jigba. So we're gonna see how he performs with that team versus with the Vikings. Okay, that could be a one-year wonder. So I'm not gonna put too much emphasis on Sam Darnold. Okay, I do like Sam Darnold, but he was also playing with one of the best receivers ever, if you ask me. So we're gonna see what happens when he joins the Seahawks. Hopefully they can go to the playoffs, but I seriously doubt it. But you never know.
And Mason Rudolph and Mike White are current backups.
I don't know about Sam Darnold like that.
To have not just one, but two all-time Hall of Fame level
That's
talents
S tier.
in one class,
That's S.
and two other noteworthy starters, this puts this class amongst the greatest of all time. 2018 lands in S tier.
Good tier grade.
While it didn't bring the same level of hype as 2018, the 2019 class saw three quarterbacks selected in the first 15
That's C
picks.
grade for sure.
Kyler
C
Murray
grade.
was on the fast track to becoming a star, but his career trajectory has sort of stalled. He developed into a two-time Pro Bowler and at one point was an MVP candidate. But injuries and concerns over how serious he takes his profession have been at the forefront of the conversation surrounding Murray. I'd say he's considered an average starter somewhere in that 15 to 20
Average?
range. After that, this class has struggled. The Daniel Jones pick was hated by Giants fans from the
Yo, if y'all think Kyler Murray is average, you're averagely mistaken, okay? I'm gonna be honest. Kyler Murray is not average at all. He's great. He's a great player, bro.
when it happened. And turned out, they had a point. At least he had that one decent season in 2022. Dwayne Haskins had struggled in Washington for 2 years.
R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins.
And was hoping to bounce back in Pittsburgh,
Always.
but tragically died in 2022.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Drew Lock started in Denver for 21 games over 3 years, and other than that, has mostly been a backup in his career. And after those guys, the only other notable quarterback from this class was actually the biggest surprise of the group, 6th rounder Gardner Minshew. Minshew mania took over in Jacksonville
That's a
right
D
away.
grade.
And after a
Matter of fact,
standout
C
rookie
grade,
season,
C.
Minshew has become this generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick, a journeyman who's had success with multiple teams. Overall, this class doesn't really have
C.
too much to offer. One average starter, a few low-end journeyman starters, and a few backups. This class lands in C tier.
2020.
Alongside 2012 and 2018,
COVID year.
2020 is about
God damn! Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Oh my God! This is an S tier, fellas. This is an S tier. Unfortunately, this is an S tier, man.
it gets. The top 5 quarterbacks selected all have had great moments.
This is an
Joe
S tier.
Burrow is a top 5 quarterback when healthy and led the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance. Tua has proven to be a capable starter and hovers in that 10 to 20 range for starting quarterbacks. Herbert certainly has the talent, as like the previous two, he's
Yo, Herbert chokes too much, man. He really chokes too much. Like I don't never see Herbert thrive in pressure cooker situations. I never seen it. He always be the guy on a negative end of things. He's never the guy on the positive end of things. Like I like Herbert though, man. He's a phenomenal talent, but dog, he just doesn't thrive. Oh, what the hell?
Before. As like the previous two, he's made a Pro Bowl. He's played at a top 10 level before, but has just lacked the playoff success to this point. Jordan Love had to sit for years behind Rodgers, but since he took over, he's also shown that he's capable of being a top 10 quarterback.
That boy Love
although
is
there is some
insane.
inconsistency with him and a relatively small sample size. And lastly,
I like Love.
Jalen Hurts, the lone second rounder from this class, is coming off a year where he won Super Bowl MVP. This is the second Super Bowl he's played in. As a player, people discuss Hurts like he's an average starter because of how much talent is around him. But there's no denying his effect on the Eagles' offense. They built that power run scheme around his skill set, and when healthy, he's a top 10 NFL quarterback. The rest of the class were fourth rounders and beyond, and have really done nothing. But that doesn't take away from these top 5 guys. It's incredibly rare for every top quarterback to hit, and there's still time for them to get better. For now, it lands in S tier.
I know. It is.
The
2021.
2021 class had a whopping 5
Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mike. Ooh. I'm going to go B at best. I'm going to go B. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like Zach Wilson, even though he hasn't prospered at all. I like Trey Lance, even though we already know his situation. He hasn't prospered at all. Justin Fields, he has an opportunity. Unfortunately, it's with the Jets. We already know how the Jets quarterbacks get down. They never succeed. But I'm hoping that Justin Fields can change things in New Jersey, okay? The New Jersey Jets, they can never succeed, but I'm praying for freaking Justin Fields. I like Mac Jones, but this quarterback list, mediocre. It's really mediocre, man. I think he's going to grade it a C. I like the names on this list. I like Mac Jones. I like Fields. I like Lance. I like Wilson. I like Lawrence. But I think he's going to give it a C. I'm going to give it a B, though. Honestly. I like the names, but the opportunities, they just haven't came around yet. But I feel like they will, okay? Especially for Justin Fields, hopefully.
5 quarterbacks selected in the first 15 picks.
Hopefully.
But this COVID class proved to be a huge disaster. Trevor Lawrence received the most pre-draft hype of any quarterback since Andrew Luck, and his career has been underwhelming. He did have one good season making a Pro Bowl and getting a playoff win with that crazy comeback, but outside of that, he's been average to below average. Zach Wilson and Trey Lance were all-time busts. Mac Jones, same thing. But at least he was good as a rookie.
I like Trey Lance, but I don't want to put his name besides. I don't want to put his name next to Buzz, but it's slowly looking like it. But he needs the opportunity, so that's all I'm gonna say. Oh my gosh.
Rookie. And Justin Fields was just underwhelming, as his passing ability never developed like they hoped in Chicago. For the first rounders, 4 out of the 5 have been traded. And for the later rounds, it's nothing special. Davis Mills was the only notable one, and he was a below average starter for about 2 years. As of today, this class has produced just 1 average starter. I could see it being D or maybe C tier one day, but for now, the 2021 class lands in F tier.
Wow.
Going into the draft, 2022 was one of the weakest classes we've ever seen.
Sam
Kenny
Howell
Pickett was the only quarterback selected in the first 70
Sam Howell, go!
and he was traded out of Pittsburgh after 2 rough years. After him, you've got Desmond Ridder, who struggled when he started, Malik Willis, who may have promise but we haven't seen it long term, and Sam Howell.
Sam Howell,
who
go!
had his moments as a starter in Washington, but he's a backup. The saving grace of the
Sam Howell's a backup? What? Sam Howell, he's a backup, but the Seahawks, and I'm gonna throw my Commanders in there, formerly known as the Washington Football Team, formerly known as the Washington Redskins. I'm gonna throw ourselves in there. We failed Sam Howell as an organization. Honestly, no protection, him getting sacked 70 goddamn times. That's not it. That is not it, bro. And most of the time, it was not somehow fault that he got sacked damn near 70 times, right? So I feel like the Seahawks had a franchise QB who could have turned into Sam Darnold type of guy or Geno Smith type of guy, but they decided to get another guy, Sam Darnold, in there instead of putting a backup as the face. Okay? So, I mean, if you want to say F tier, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to go D tier at best, but these guys, it's so early that you guys see the potential in these guys. Malik Willis, he was immaculate as a Packers starter. When Jordan Love went down, Malik Willis filled in his shoes very nicely. So, you know, it's potential in this draft class, okay? But it's still early. This is what, in 2024? This is 2023, right? This is way too early to decide about the grade, okay? But I'm not gonna argue with you if you say it's an F or D right now. I'm not gonna argue with you. But this has potential to turn to a B. Cause I think Sam Howell has potential, and I also think Malik Willis has potential. I like Desmond Ritter, but I for sure like Sam Howell and Malik Willis. I like them boys a lot.
This class. And the most relevant player today
Brock
was
Purdy.
That draft's Mr. Irrelevant.
I forgot about Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. After being the last pick in 2022,
Brock Purdy's nice.
Went from practice squad to the
You gotta give it a C now. You gotta give it a C grade now. If you don't give it a C grade, then you can't go lower than D, but you can't go higher than C. So I'm gonna say C.
biggest surprise of the year in the NFL. And for 2 years, he played at a top 10 level and helped the Niners reach 2 NFC championship
Brock Purdy
games
was nice.
and 1 Super Bowl. Like many late round picks who have surprising success, the Niners are now in the dilemma of having to pay Brock Purdy top of the market money, even if he's not worth it. Regardless, outside of a down year in 2020,
Yo, Brock, you better take a deal, okay? A team-friendly deal. All right? don't. You better not. Your head better not get too big. You better take a team-friendly deal. Because you are talented, but you ain't no goddamn Tom Brady type of guy. You ain't no Jalen Hurts type of guy. You ain't no you ain't none of that. You're a great talent, okay? You're better than most, but you better not try to go in there with your balls on the table, okay? Be modest, be humble, take what you can get. Take what they offer you. Alright? So they can build around you. That's all I'm gonna say about Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy, but hopefully he don't go in there with his balls on the table acting like he's a top 5 quarterback. I hope that's the case. So that's all I gotta say.
2024, this dude led the league in a boatload of passing categories in 2023 and certainly deserves to be a starter in the NFL. But overall, this class is terrible. Entering year 4, it lands in F tier.
F? I'll give. Alright.
The night is still young on this 2023 class. With just 2 seasons under their belt, all 14 quarterbacks are still active. But we have learned a thing or two about these guys.
Right.
CJ Stroud has made a name for himself. 2 years in, and it's safe to say he's at least an above average NFL starter.
For sure.
Had one of the best rookie seasons we've ever seen. As long as they can get a better O-line, the future looks bright in Houston. The other early picks, however, have struggled. Bryce Young has had a rough 2-year stretch. Some are already calling him a bust, but he did end his 2024.
Hell nah! Hell nah, that boy ain't no bust. That boy got potential. That boy got elite, immaculate potential. Okay? Anybody who watch football knows that this dude right here, he got a chance to be a top 5 quarterback in this business. Alright? He gotta work hard, but he got the skill levels to do that. I'm gonna be honest, bro. If you call Bryce Young a bust, you don't know football. Alright? He got the skills and the talent to make to be top 5, okay? In the whole entire NFL league. For sure.
Or season on a high note. As for Anthony Richardson, the vibes just don't feel right here. He's been injury prone and wildly
Yeah, I
inaccurate
don't know
with
about
Tim
him.
Tebow level completion rates in 2024. Also, he said that thing about being too tired to go back in the game that didn't help him out.
Yeah, I don't know
Lastly,
about him.
Will Levis had one of the greatest debuts one can have, only to have things crumble from there, and now it's hard to imagine him being a starter anywhere in 2025. The rest of this class are backups at best.
Too early.
But with the late rounders, it usually takes time for them to develop
It's too
into
early.
anything of note. So this class is a pretty big unknown. 2 years in, and I'd say it hovers in that C to D tier range.
What? C to D? I'm gonna go C, bro. I ain't gonna lie. CJ Stroud by himself makes it a C. Bryce Young potential makes it a B. Anthony Richardson, he's a little bit shaky. I ain't gonna lie to you. Will Levis a little bit shaky, but I'm gonna go C at best for right now. D plus? I can't be mad at it. Can't be mad at it.
But like I said, it's too early to be definitive
Yeah,
about that
too
ranking.
early.
With
2024.
a record, 6 quarterbacks taken in the
Hey, this year gonna be one of the hey yo, this year, 2024, this is an immaculate year for quarterbacks, all right? Immaculate. This year right here, this year quarterbacks gonna go down in history as one of the best quarterbacks ever in the NFL history. Hopefully Caleb gets at the ever, but we already know what Jay and Daniels do. We already know. We already know what he do. I gotta get me a JD jersey, you know what I'm saying? I've been repping my old dude, Robert Griffin III for too long. I gotta get me a JD jersey. But hey man, we already know what he does. We already know what Drake May is gonna do. Michael Penix Jr., he has potential. Bo Nix immaculate. Joe Milton, he hasn't got his opportunity yet, but I feel as though that he's going to display his talent. He's going to display his talent in a crazy way when he get an opportunity to. This draft class is going to go down in history as one of the best draft class to ever be announced. Okay, that's my opinion. Let me know how I feel.
the first 12
That's my
picks.
opinion.
2024
JD5!
has been wildly impressive through 1 year. Outside of JJ McCarthy, who missed the entire year due to injury, we saw promising things from the other first rounders.
Yes, sir.
Jaden Daniels is
Yes, we
arguably one of the
did.
best in the game.
Yes, we
after leading the
did.
Commanders to the NFC Championship. Drake May was really impressive on a bad team. Michael Penix looked good for a few games. Bo Nix improved drastically by the
Yo, I feel bad for Michael Penix Jr. because that was supposed to be his team, but instead of that being his team, Kirk Cousins signs with the Falcons, and that became Kirk Cousins' team. So I feel bad for Michael Penix Jr. because they hold him. Why would you even get Michael Penix Jr. if you're gonna sign Kirk Cousins to $100+ million deal? And for him, you sign Kirk Cousins to $100 million+ deal, and guess what happens? He doesn't even finish the season. Yo, whoever Kirk Cousins' agent is, yo, hang his jersey, hang his suit, hang whatever he's wearing on a day-to-day basis into the goddamn rafters. That boy right there is official, okay? And Falcons are the stupidest franchise in history, okay?
the
Be
end of the
honest.
season.
I'm being
he
honest,
helped
man.
Denver reach the postseason. And Caleb Williams was up and down, but clearly has the potential to be great. Ranking this class is more of a prediction.
I'm gonna give it
than
an A.
anything.
I'm gonna give this.
But I'd
this
say
is
that
an
they
A.
have serious
This is
S
an
tier
A.
potential. I'm not saying that's the case yet, but I can see it happening.
This is an A.
Daniels, going end zone, touchdown! Washington takes the lead.
Yo, I wish he would have graded that franchise in 1 year, but it's too early, obviously. But from what I can tell, that's an S tier. That's an SS tier type of draft. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. But shout out to him, man. I think he did a great job in going down the list and grading the teams, the draft class. I think he did a great job. So shout out to this dude right here, man. Immaculate video, bro. Very impressive, man. Jan Daniels, he's gonna go down in history as one of the best quarterbacks ever. He's already on a good foot. Okay? Wait till we get that Super Bowl. It's coming. It's coming sooner than you know.